how do you feel like we deal with each other as far as when we know kind of one of us is kind of going in the wrong direction, and as far as balancing saying something, not saying something, being supportive, like how do you feel like we handle that as a group?
It's funny that you say that.
All right, so on this episode, I'm going to take lead a little bit. Before I start, I'm going to give a shout out to my baby boy who got me this jersey. Just got it for Christmas, a little late Christmas present, so I told him I was going to rock it right now.
So Mikey or Kai?
Mikey, yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he said he know I love Kobe, so shout out to baby boy.
Shout out to Mikey.
Right?
That's funny.
Money Mike. All right, so today's lyric comes from the song Love Yours by J. Cole.
Classic.
Definitely a classic for sure. And I'm just start with the line, and we'll just kind of go from there and see, what we feel about it. So, basically says, on the road to riches, listen, this is what you'll find. The good news is you came a long way. The bad news is you went the wrong way. Just kind of going from now, I was kind of thinking like of introspective and kind of thinking about like how we pace our journey and like. So I think first of all, my first question would be, how do you gauge where you are, or how do you gauge your direction?
Oof. Man, it's so hard because I think you live in a society now where you're constantly seeing what other people are doing. So it's kind of like putting your feet to the fire, like, well, I should be at this point in life.
Right, yeah.
And one of my biggest things is like, man, running your own race.
For sure.
Like, not to use like a running analogy, but like I was out there running on one of the trails and I had like this goal in my mind. It's like, man, I'm gonna run 8 miles today. And I set my pace and everything. I'm running, but like somebody ran right past me. It was like a lady too, so older lady. I'm like, because y'all know I'm a sprinter at heart.
Yeah.
Right? So I was like, let me catch up to her. Like, so I started to catch up to her, pass her. Like 2 minutes later, she passed me again. So I'm like, now it's just the principle of it.
Yeah.
But like by trying to do that, I tired myself out. So like I set out for this goal to run 8 miles, but I ended up only being like 4 miles because I was trying to run at somebody else's pace.
Yeah.
And like that taught me one of the biggest lessons. Like, man, you just really got to stay focused on what you're at.
Yeah, and that's definitely tough. Like in this day and age, we know what's going on with everybody pretty much. You can see just about everybody, from the most common person that like you know to like the most famous person. Like you normally can see so much of their life now. It's kind of hard to stay in your own in your own lane and not get caught into the rat race really.
Yeah, and even just to kind of piggyback off of that, like sometimes all we seen are people's highlight reels anyways.
Yep.
True.
On the outside looking in, like they look like they got everything going on, but behind the scenes, people be struggling, and it's a lot of stuff that people aren't showing, and they only showing like the good parts.
Yeah, and that kind of brings 2 points for me. First, we talk about this all the time about how you shouldn't trust people who are always the hero in every story. But we can drive that home as many times as possible. And I think that's what we create by seeing these high points. And I'm glad we have a group of friends where everybody can be transparent with each other because, yes, we all have succeeded a lot, but we all know we all have a lot of L's too.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. And I think if you don't see that, it can give you like kind of a warped sense of reality for sure. And I think that's what social media is. And I mean, that could even lead to a whole nother thing of is that toxic in a way? Is it motivational? Does that come down to how you use it and whatnot? And I think another thing I'm sure we talked about at a different time is like, I find that sometimes I don't want to celebrate everything too much. But should you not want to like be proud of this thing and want your people to, for me, I've scaled back my social media quite a bit. So I kind of like it to be, people might not know exactly what's going on with me. So I think that's cool then for everybody to see it. But by the same time, it's like, is that helpful or harmful?
I think I've experienced both of those as well. I've definitely been a lot quieter with my stuff, not for any particular reason other than I just, that's just, I'm just becoming, I guess, a little more private. But I do know that a piece of that comes with there are people who want to celebrate you. So there are people who want to celebrate with you. So there are people who want to support you. So like I just took a coaching gig not too long ago, and I really didn't make a lot of noise about it. First, it just happened really quickly, and then it was like unofficial. And while it was unofficial, was probably when I would have said something. And then by the time it got official, we were just into the work. So I really haven't said a lot about it. But I'm sure there's people who want to come out and see the games and stuff like that. And it's like you don't want to take that away from people. So it's one of them like finding a balance. So finding a balance of how much you put out, how much you keep to yourself. And so I think for me, that definitely ebbs and flows. I'm definitely a lot less posting, but definitely still want to give people space to like support what I got going on.
I mean, we talking about like this "Love Yourz" song, but like what you just said reminded me of one of the other songs by J. Cole where he was like, "If they don't know your dream, they can't shoot it down."
Right.
I forgot what song that is, but like a lot of times I'm kind of like with you. Like I think people tend to not put stuff out because once it's out there, you know, you got to live up to it in a sense.
Right. That's accountability.
Yeah.
Is what that is. And you have to be ready for that in a way, because there is that person who you'll just bump into randomly and be like, hey, how's this going? And that could be an uncomfortable conversation if you totally abandon something and that is tough. Like I make that joke when we work on our music stuff. I be telling Q like I'm not gonna say it till Dev until like I'm really ready to do it, because you're like, okay, we're doing it. You kick it into gear, and then there comes that accountability to get it done. And it's that you don't always want that on you as you're in the process.
Is good.
Right. It is.
So how do you guys manage that level of pressure to be on social media, or pressure to like kind of keep those goals versus like kind of going at your own pace? And even with your own pacing, feeling like sometimes, you know, we feel like even with ourselves we're behind, like not from any other outside pressure, but the pressure within as well. So how do you kind of manage that and kind of still set some goals? You don't want to not hit any goals or not, you know, have any motivation. So how do you think you balance that?
I'll say I'm pretty sure out of the three of us, I'm the most active on socials.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think part of that is kind of coming from like understanding who I am as a person and that accountability that Portia was talking about. Like once you put something out there, like people are going to hold you to it.
Right.
For me, that fuels me.
Yeah.
Like if there is a day that I don't want to go out and run, I know people are like, well, why didn't you go run today?
Right.
So I'm kind of looking forward to that. So that motivates me a little bit more. So I just treat it like that. But then also like, even though I post a lot, I don't post a lot of like personal stuff, at least to like my general story. But then like on the close friends, like I'll get a little bit more, you know, transparent. But then like my closer circle, like y'all know everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't care what everybody else has to say, because I know the people who love and support me got my back no matter what.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's also very important to post like the bad with it, because like when I got injured, like I tore my Achilles, and like posting about that.
Yeah.
Because I saw myself as like a runner, and most people knew me on socials for running. So then, okay, well, what do you do when you face a setback? And I think it's important for people to also see like the perseverance in certain things. And it's not always sunshine, but like you just never know where people are drawing their inspiration from.
Yeah.
So that's what I kind of do. Like, Brittany think I be thirst trapping, but like I'm really just be proud of myself, and then also motivating other people.
Yeah, I got to like a place like that as well. It's kind of like I do want that motivation, because it's like if I put it out there now, everybody knows what I'm doing. So it's like it gives me an incentive to see things through. But it's also for other people as well. I think I've talked about before, like I wish I had done a lot of these things at 27 as opposed to where I'm at 37. I feel like that would have been a great 10-year head start to have. But of course, everything is in the timing it's supposed to be.
Yeah, right.
But that's why like when I like post my grades and things like that, I always say like, if I can do this, anybody can. Like I always try to drive that home. Like it is, I'm a more responsible person, but you know, my mind is still 37 and not in my 20s. So it's not easy to do all this as we all know. So it's like, if I can manage this, don't feel like whatever age you are or whatever the circumstances are, you can't manage to find a way to do it. And I think that's the one thing that encouraged me to post a lot more of my things, because I'm like, look, I'm nowhere near perfect for any of this, but if I could see this through, like, even if that just gives one person a little more confidence, that's enough for me.
Yeah, I think I'm getting that. I'm getting that way in my physical journey. Like after I went through those 3 surgeries, 3 summers. That's a time, man.
Bro,
like I didn't know I was coming out the other side of that. Like not actually and be able to be like fully physical again. There were times I thought I'd never run again. We talked about I wanted to do a marathon and stuff like that. I didn't think that was happening. I hadn't ran full stride in probably over 10 years. And so like just recently, I wanted that with my kids. Like they love basketball. I wanted to train with them. I wanted to be able to show them, look, this is how you train. Like you really want to be, a next level athlete. This is how we train. And so to do that, I had that goal in my mind. But having that goal in my mind at 50, 60, 70 pounds overweight after 3 surgeries, like that thing looked bleak, but just like little piece by little piece. And I wish I was tracking it more but in the middle, in this part of it, I ain't want to track it because I don't want nobody to see it. And I wish I have like some pictures, but not a lot. And I used to hate posting because I had gained all of the weight and all that stuff. And then you just little by little, like step by step. But now like being on the other side of that and being able to like work out with them and being able to show that and go to the workouts and people seeing us do the workouts and stuff together. And then like tonight he played at West. We never got the chance to play at West, but like being in there, it was so nostalgic. And he got a fast break where he took his gather steps like he was about to dunk it. The whole gym is like, and it's like one of the moments where everybody looking at me. I'm like, look, we close. I'm like, we like a couple months away, and it's just like it's those moments, like fighting through to get to those moments that I don't mind sharing with everybody because like personally, I don't, you never know who that's motivating, and it's just a special thing.
I think and. That's the most inspirational thing that I be seeing on my timeline with you and the boys in the morning. Like when I be watching that, because it's like first thing in the morning, I just be smiling like from ear to ear.
Yeah.
Because knowing who you are as a person and then how important fatherhood is to you. And you don't have a lot of active dads, active dads, So like seeing that just kind of sets my day. It makes me want to be a better father. I'm like, man,
for sure.
For real.
And that's one of the things where like I'm posting that too because it is an accountability thing. Like people know that we go to the gym and people are seeing that, and it might be motivating somebody to just get up and do a little bit because we not doing no like serious super tight workout. We just in there enjoying basketball, and it's like man, it's the moments where like we only gonna have so much time until he adult, and then so during this time it's special, and it has what is bred for us is like when he first became a teen, he did kind of close off a little bit, and so like I just stayed steady and I just worked a little bit, and now we're able to have like some conversations about basketball and about just life, and that has been, bro, that's more exciting than going to the gym. Like I love going to the gym, but the fact that we're actually like being able to have some of them conversations is just like that's the growth that I wanted, and you can't ask for nothing else other than that. We talked about our friend group and how tight we are, how much of each other's business we know. So how do you feel like we deal with each other as far as when we know kind of one of us is kind of going in the wrong direction, and as far as balancing saying something, not saying something, being supportive, like how do you feel like we handle that as a group?
It's funny that you say that. I mean, I think, all these years.
Just blame Portis. That's the default.
That's the first. That's definitely the default.
All these years, and I think the different eras, the evolutions of everybody, I think we've all kind of learned what works and doesn't work with everybody. And because of that, I think we know how to handle it. Sometimes it's not comfortable, of course, but that's why sometimes we might need to enlist. It might be a 2.
Yeah.
It might be a 2 conversation or a big group and it's casual, or it is the one-on-one, like, hey, I don't want this to come off weird if it's, because in a group of people, you never know how people are going to take that. So I think that's the one thing, but that comes from years and years, and it was not always an exact science. We've got it wrong a number of times too. And so again, obviously we talk about all the time how thankful we are for each other. I know that's probably tricky for a lot of people who don't have a circle we have, because no one is really out here in the business of being like real with people. Most people are just looking to get what they want from them, or making sure everything is mutually beneficial.
Right.
In a real friendship, it's not always like that. There's times where you're getting the short end of the stick.
Oh yeah, we always say friendship. If you're not putting your friends at a disadvantage sometimes, or like, extending them some, like, you're not really friends.
Right. So I think for the most part, we do a good, and I'm interested to hear y'all perspective on this too. I think for the most part, we do a good job with it, but it's of course not perfect. And especially as we get older, we are tight knit, but it's tough. People are really their own person now.
Yeah.
So it's tough to be like, okay, like maybe just this is who you are at this point. How receptive are you going to be to any of this? So that can be tricky.
Yeah, I agree with Portis. I'll just kind of also speak to like sharing stuff, because it was not last year. Well, yeah, early last year. No, 2024.
2024. Yeah,
year and a half ago, where I was going through something personally, and like I didn't tell everybody about it, and it was probably partially maybe like a little bit of embarrassment, but then also it's like, man, I'm trying to figure this out on my own, and that situation taught me never to do that again. Because when I did finally come out and tell y'all about everything that was going on, like y'all was like, okay, how can we help? Like, how can we support? And y'all showed up the way that I needed y'all to, in those moments. So I'm like, man, I never want to take for granted the access that I have to people who, one, know me, but also love me and then got my back and understand how I think. Because that's the other thing, like with knowing each other for 25 plus years, we know each other's like train of thought and what's going into like their decisions. So like we might not always agree, but it's like that's Dev being Dev. Like,
exactly.
So
and at the end of the day, we're gonna respect each other as brothers, as men. We still have that no matter what. Like if that's your choice, that's your choice. Like we all have that too. So
and like what I really just appreciated is like a lot of times, because for me, sometimes I just need to get that stuff out and just to talk about it. And I know for y'all two both, like y'all definitely like listeners. Q's gonna draw from all the wisdom in the world. He got, I don't know where
every ounce
will
of
run deep, And Portis is gonna listen.
A well of mistakes. That's what that is.
But see, I think that's the beauty of like the friendship group. Like people have different experiences in different areas that you can kind of give advice when needed. Like Hov did that, so
right.
So it's like, man, like this is what I went through. How can I help my friends circumvent that? Because I saw where that path led. So even like aside from that, that's Q. Q's gonna be wisdom, and I always go back to like I remember that one time. I remember exactly where I was at. I was at Walmart. I called Q. Like, yo, here's the situation. I don't know what to do, but this is the result that I'm looking for. Quinn was like, I'm going to tell you what you're going to have to do. You're not going to like it at all. But it was spot on. It was spot on. And like it even stood the test of time. So, I trust y'all. I know y'all got my best interest at heart. Right. So that with Portis, he going to sit there and listen. He going to laugh a little bit. He going to get that smirk. He's like, he gonna question, like, if it gets too off the rails, Portis like, well, you sure? Like,
right. I should wait for that moment where it's like a little bit too much.
Can I jump in?
Right, here's my small little corner for this. But again, that is everybody having their role, and the value of, always the sports metaphors, being a team. Everybody can play their position. Everybody can step up when they need to. Everybody get the big shot when needed. We can do all of those things, and it's such a value in that. I think all of this content we've been doing has pretty much been pushing that idea. Like,
for sure.
If you can, have a group of friends and trust in that, and try to build that and cultivate that, because it's critical to everything we all do.
And also, like, because I don't think between like the three of us, and just be super transparent, I don't think there's ever been like any real tension tension to the point where like we're not talking. But we have had friends that's in our close group where it has been like, yo, like, it's tense right now. And like Porter's mentioned on like one of the other episodes, like, man, at the end of the day, it's still love. Like, we're going to not be friends. But when you've been friends for 25 plus years, sometimes you might just need a break. You might just need a little quick break. What I love about that is like sometimes like we'll express it to the other people in the group and then they'll kind of pick up the slack a little bit. But eventually we always kind of find our way back around. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but you know, that's life though.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that was one of the pieces that like took us a while. That was like a part of our growth process. That we always wanted to be good. We was always good. We was always hanging out everywhere. We was always all together. We making one decision. You start to get a little older. You start to like, man, we don't have to hold on to this so tight. Like if you do like, you trust that we got that time in, and that like once you get, I mean, I guess that's what does it. Once you get into one of them tense situations you can't avoid, and then we make it to the other side, you're like, oh, it wasn't that bad. We still gonna be friends. So it's like kind of letting that over time, kind of letting us have those. And we get older. We have lives. Like, you know, those of us who got married had kids, so you kind of have to have those pockets where it's not squad. It's like I gotta take care of home. Like it used to be squad over everything. We knew that was for a while. Like the teenage years, you already know that's what it was.
Exactly. And the 20s.
It's really just kind of recently. Like
it's a newer thing.
Yeah, a very newer thing. And it is at times it's tough to navigate because you know you do feel like, man, am I spending too much time on one side or the other? It's kind of hard to balance, but I think the thing that always is well is that like we always do just pick up where we left off because that just is who we are. It's who we always been.
And just to be honest, like sometimes it's not as easy to do that too. Like because like if you felt like you've been wronged or something, like sometimes it's harder to just like there's still the love there, but it's hard to go back to like
let
that.
The thing go. That's not an easy thing to do in life. And it might even be worse with people that you're close to or with your family. That's why you hear people like say they haven't spoken to members of their families in years because it hurts more. Because that's not who expect you to do that. Or y'all got so much love. How could this happen? That's gonna hurt more than you know, somebody who you was beefing with. Like that's a different type of thing.
For sure.
I think the other thing too, and I think this comes with time, is just getting comfortable having some of those uncomfortable conversations. And I just think like sometimes like as a man, like you can have the conversation with the man to man and say like, yo, this is how I feel about what's going on. Like I don't want to feel this way, but we're here. As long as you don't make excuses in the moment and like you're gonna be good in my book. Like we can overcome a lot of things, but there are people where like the relationship just severed because you don't want to hold that and you're lying. And our friendship is like built on that trust. Like,
for sure.
It's gotta be.
I tell people all the time, like, look, I don't need new friends. Like the no new friends thing, I'm not rejecting new people that want to come into my life, but know that you coming in to be a bonus to my life because these friends over here are solid. I know they have well intentions for me, like, and we locked in. So it's like I know I have that support, and I know also they're gonna hold me accountable. So I know, like, again, Portis is gonna be that person that listen, and then like, okay, I hear where you at. Maybe a minor adjustment, and then John's gonna be that person to be like, okay, what I hear you say it is. John's always the one I go to last because he's gonna be like, all right, what you say it is. I want to make sure that you say what you think you say it. Like he just gonna be that person that definitely. I want you to, if you saying this of a sound mind, then cool, you made that decision. But like definitely, and you need that check to be like, wait, am I? Because sometimes you argue you in your head so much that you need to say it to somebody else, and then when they question it, you like, wait, I might be off a little bit, and it's just that little bit of space to even come down some and like know that like, okay, my brothers are saying something. Okay, something is probably off. I need to at least check it.
Yeah, DJ be doing that for me too. Like. He'll let me talk, but he's a little bit more aggressive than Portis is. You're like, wait, hold on, like, no.
I'm just trying to give a little nudge. I'm big on just a little nudge. Yeah. You know, he will just be like, wait, what did you? What? Why would you? And then he'd go into his spiel.
Yeah, his spiel.
Right.
So I mean, I think. Once again, like these lyrics just be kind of coming back and forth, but it's like, man, I think Drake says like, I don't want to question anything with people I love. Yeah. And as long as like my friends, like y'all, we got to be solid because this is aside from like my wife, like the most intimate relationships that I have.
for sure.
People who know
Yeah.
everything.
The amount of real level confidentiality that we hold for each other, man, it is like that is valuable, so valuable. I know people that don't have those circles, and I can't imagine living without like the support system that I've had. And that for me, that's what's allowed me not only to make mistakes, but like take risks to make mistakes. Because I definitely, I feel like growing up early, I played safe, but then you start to learn and like, you ain't gonna really get much of what you want actually playing safe. So you got to take some risks, but like having that support to be like, okay, when I fail, I still got my guys gonna pick me right back up. We gonna laugh about it for the most part, and like you said, we gonna tell them stories. I'm gonna tell the story to L. I'm gonna tell the whole story. Like this is where I failed. This is why. It's gonna be hilarious. Most I would put a little, comedy spin on it or whatever. But it is being able to fail. A lot of people don't try for not wanting to fail, and it's like, bro, I don't want to be at the end of my life like, man, I didn't try nothing.
Yeah.
Like, and that's, to me, that's like what that lyric, that's part of what that lyric is. Like, you can go the whole way playing safe and realize you get all the way to the end, you ain't seen no signs because you ain't really watching, and look up and be like, I went the whole wrong way. Like, I should have took a whole nother turn or something, but I didn't want to take that risk.
Yeah, as kind of cliche as it is, like really turning 30 really kind of put that in my mind much more. And obviously it coincided with a lot of other stuff in my life too. But it's like, I'm thinking like, man, 30 came
quick.
We were just like kids, literally. And then even when you hit 20, you still feel like so young. But then it's like, wait, this is like, like you're thinking about what you thought about 30 as a kid. And so I'm like, okay, like time is ticking away. If I don't start to go some direction, like, you don't want to look up and then you're 40 and then you're asking those same questions. And so that was a pretty big deal for me to be like, wait. Something gotta shake. Something like I can't just kind of be walking aimlessly. I have to know some sort of direction. I didn't know what the journey would look like at all. Like I had no idea of that. I just kind of, okay, here's this. Let's finally do it. And then it just, everything start going in that direction just from that small little choice of starting to push myself that way. So I think that can be, you have to find what it takes for you. But it was turning 30 for me was like, man.
30 for me actually was when those injuries started. So like that was a very 30. I remember waking up on my 30th birthday and like getting out of bed and almost falling over because that's when that part of the injury was like messing with my balance. And I'm waking up, we thought it was like vertigo or like a whole bunch of different stuff. We just couldn't find what it was. But it was those like life interruptions that made me like really, it took basketball away. Like it threatened to take music away. So I'm just sitting just at home. I was off work for a long time. So I'm just sitting at home and you got all that time and you like, well, if this is gone, work, I had built my entire life off of labor. And so now I'm going to the doctor. He like, how's music doing? I'm like, what you mean? He like, you may not never really work in this field again. So it's like, I done built this whole life on that, and then now that's about to change, and like, it really left me with like a feeling like, who am I, or who am I gonna be? Like, what is this gonna turn into? And it really just, that's the moment that like, sort of like Portis, I'm like, okay, well, I got to start figuring out whatever happens with this physicality, I got to figure out a way to live after that and to live healthily. And shout out to therapy because somewhere along the way, therapy comes in, I get tools, and then able to kind of fight my way back.
Yeah, that's a scary space to be in. Like you said, kind of isolated and in your head too. And the worst thing is like when you don't have like an end in sight with a lot of these injuries, that makes it so much more difficult. Or like for me, when I tore that Achilles, I immediately went and found somebody on YouTube who did the same thing, and they had documented their recovery journey. Yeah. So then I started basing my timeline off of like what theirs was. And as we talked about earlier, you can't always do that. No. So like, because my doctor was a little bit more conservative early on, so he was like, no. It's like, we're going to move this all slowly. Because I posted, I was like in the gym the next day, like after I tore it with my walking boot. But, it's just, when you was talking about like that lyric, you go the wrong way. And then sometimes it's like, man, sometimes you commit to like, okay, I know I'm going the wrong way, but it looks too hard to turn around and get back on track. So I'm just going to keep tracking along the wrong way because I am making progress. I'm going somewhere.
Yep.
But it's like, man, like if you just you're making it worse the longer that you recognize and stick with it.
That kind of leads me to a question for y'all. How comfortable would you be, like, and again, this is like metaphorically, like, but like abandoning ship if like there were signs that you're headed the wrong way, like even if it's what you've been planning for, but then either there's something over here that's like a different opportunity, but maybe it's a little riskier. Like, how do you manage when those things come on your plate, if you will?
I think early on, I was quick to jump ship. I used to be the first sign.
Yeah.
Don't go. Right. Yeah. So I feel like I definitely had probably the most range with that. Like I used to be very much first sign. Then like because I knew that at some point in my 20s, I'm like, man, that's not a good trait to have. And so then I feel like in my 20s there was some times where I stayed on the ship and it's almost under the water. And I'm still like, well, it'll be all right to come back up. And I'm like going down slowly. Like still like, I think it's okay. Like, you know, right. But then you find out, okay, I gotta get off this before I drown. I went through a whole stage where I used to get all the way to the edge of the cliff and be like, oh no, I shouldn't jump off it though. And then get all the way to the cliff again. And so I go through that. And then now I feel like it's definitely a balance of like, one, I know where I'm trying to go. I mean, I try to keep my compass clear. And then I try to like make sure that like I'm making clear-minded decisions. So I'm not in a rush to make a decision, but I'm also not trying to overstay and get close to drowning. If the water's starting to get into the boat, there's clearly a problem. I need to find the problem. If I can plug it, maybe. But if I can't, then we just got to figure out, you know, what's next from that. You know, so I feel like with me, I've definitely healed that different ways over time.
Yeah, I think it depends on what area you're talking about too. Like for me, I'm super risk adverse in the majority areas of life. I love stability. So when you see things kind of creaking in, well, if you do jump ship, what does that new normal look like?
Right.
And that is something that's kind of scary to me personally. So like it has to be like flashing lights saying like, okay, like this is the you're on the wrong track. And you can't correct it. I think a lot of times I put a lot of thought into most of the decisions that I make. So I'm hoping that it paid off and I'm doing what's right. But I'm probably like the more hesitant person to jump ship in a lot of different areas.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I would lean more towards that for sure. I like to have some constant for sure. Obviously, most things when I have really took the risk, it has been rewarding. But even with that,
still right,
it's tough to like really do that. And you know, this as I'm starting to think about things like further off, years off, it's like if I ever want to do something a little different or you know get a little bit above where I'm at, like is that something like or I don't want to be complacent. Like that's something I don't.
Yeah, for sure.
Like even in eras where I really wasn't doing anything, in my head there was always like an aspiration. There was never just a nothing. Even if just I couldn't get anywhere, that doesn't mean I didn't want to. And so I was thinking like, man, am I gonna get to a place where like, okay, this is my life and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Is that being complacent? But what if it's the success you always wanted?
Yeah.
Is living in that being complacent, or
does there always have to be a next?
Or does there always have to be a next thing?
That's a very interesting question, especially with us because we've all been so we've always been like that. We've always been pushing forward. We've always been looking for the new, looking for the next, and trying to like level up. So it's one of the things. It's kind of like that is a good question. Like, is there ever going to be like enough, or like where you can kind of rest?
Right, and I mean, is that healthy at some point to? Okay, you can scale it back a bit, or is there needs to be that drive, and that's, I mean that.
To be honest, I don't think we wired that way.
Yeah,
I really don't. I think it's always going to be chasing your potential because your potential is constantly moving. You know, we use the analogy. I think when we talk about therapy, of like if you're on the weights, like if your max right now is 200, well, you keep lifting, your potential is going to go up to like 220.
Yeah,
and then 225 and keep going forward. Or if you have like a setback, you know, that might lower it for a little bit,
Yeah,
but then
you
you're
want to, yeah,
you're gonna keep working like from
Yeah.
where you're at. And I think when you get to like that area of complacency and you really stop moving, I think that's an even scarier place to be than being complacent.
Yeah, and I think the thing that kind of always keeps me pushing for is that like, and I think about like the video games, old school video games, where like if you stop, the scene is still moving, and like it'll literally stop your life because and you have to restart because
Every episode.
Every time.
because there's like complacency is really like it's an illusion because the moment you stop going forward, you're actually going backwards. So again, going back to that same lie, like you feel like, okay, I'm here, I made it. It did. You really did make it because if you stop, you stop growing, you start going backwards, but you start to lose that edge. We've seen people, you know, I think we probably all know people who get to a certain age and then like even like retire, and then you see them quickly decline because you stop doing stuff, and then it just seems like that's just a part of life. If you're not moving forward, you are moving backwards.
And I think success just looks different in different areas of your life too, in different eras of your life.
Right.
So what's successful to us in like our 20s was going out, drinking, and like stuff like that. Versus like in our 30s, you know, now it's low key kickback and just having a good conversation.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
and then you know, I'm hoping like in the 40s, all right, man, where we going for the trip?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's
for
like that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and I will say, like Portis, I think you also kind of helped move a lot of that stuff forward because talked about like last year, you were the one who orchestrated like our first group trip
for
out
sure.
of state, and like I see you trying different things, and so I think when you see other people in your circle kind of moving forward,
Yes.
that's also going to make you want to move forward as well.
Yeah, actually, I saw the and I was cracking up. I was like, man, I was just going like through some old clips in my phone, and I seen the clip when we were at the gym when you were going like you had turned the treadmill all the way up to 14 miles an hour, and I think that was like right before you like really got into the running and stuff, and it was like he was like, I think I could do this. I'm like, yeah, we should try. And I was the one that was in the gym at that time. I was in the gym like every day, locked in, and I think you had just came on a wheel. I don't know if you had seen me
That
post.
Planet Fitness, yeah.
Yeah, you had just seen me post like, I'll pull it up too. I'm like, all right, let's go. And like you get on that, and then you become a runner. So I'm like, wait, I want to run now too. Like, so it's just like it's very reciprocal at times. And I love that about us, that we're always able to draw from each other.
Yeah, you shamed me into getting back into the gym because it's like 2021.
Yeah.
and Q was in the gym heavy consistently, and like I wasn't. And I remember pulling up to Planet Fitness with you, and Quinn's doing circuits. So, you know, you just see your partner, like, man, like he get into it. So I was like, I got to keep up. Like, you never, I think with the group, and like there's no competition per se, but it's like, man, you just don't want to be the weakest link in the group either. So
not at
that's
all.
constantly going to keep you wanting to move forward. And like nobody's going to, like, we all know, like, we have areas where like it's times where I'm like super down, and like y'all pulling me up, and vice versa. So it's always like a give and take in the relationship, but you don't never want to be the one where you always
Right. You don't want to be that.
You don't want to be that. Don't even want to say it.
Right. That's not a good place to be.
So I think that's also going to motivate us to keep moving forward in like every facet of life as well.
Sure. Yeah. So I want to bring a spin into this. So when you're making those decisions about like pushing or not pushing or like setting those goals, how do you balance? And this I always say like these two things are really the opposite end of the scale. So how do you balance emotion and like reason? So like logic and emotion. Because like emotionally you can feel like I'm in a down season, so I don't want to push. But logically you can know, okay, if I take a baby step, I'm at least moving. But like, how do you balance that emotion versus like the logic or the reality?
This I'm gonna get my brief thing.
Go for it.
But I am definitely a reality based person for sure. Again, it's not that I don't trust my own emotions, but it's just I gotta see the bottom line on most things, and some of that is again that the family I came out of. It's everybody has like a different role in that, and so it's when you grow up, it's you're molded a certain way. Then we get into the friend group, and then we have people who are this way, that way, and then your role kind of shifts there. So again, I commend, like you were talking about how you could like kind of jump off something quick or something like that. Like I commend that in a way because I wish I could, but like there's part of me that just like, even no matter how strongly I feel, if it don't make sense, like I just can't do it.
Yeah.
But so for me, it definitely is like much like if as long as it makes sense, like okay, I'm gonna keep doing this. Like even if I feel bad, like especially in recent years, the kind of pushing through has got me to so much. I'm like, I have to. It has to just be okay. It's one step. You fall off the wagon, you get right back on the next day. Like it's that type of thing. That's been successful for me. But again, I'm interested to see what y'all say about this one.
Man, kind of similar to Portis, man. I'm very analytical with a lot of stuff. So sometimes, like, yeah, it has to make sense in my head. But then I find myself doing things that don't make sense. So it's not necessarily like leading with emotion. It's just I know what the facts are, and I'm just choosing to move against it. Man, it's really tough because I think it just really depends on what area. Because if you're talking like relationships,
right, for sure.
Well, then a lot of that analytical stuff kind of goes out of the window,
right, for sure.
And you are leading more so with like emotions and like you're doing things or accepting things that sometimes don't make sense to you. And I think that's where it's important also to kind of have the friend group because like I can express like, hey, this is what's going on. And like y'all can give me like that outsider's perspective. And not just like in relationships, but like that with work, life, like even how we're dealing with other friends. Like it's important to have somebody else that can kind of like guide you or like at least give you some advice. I'll say so. I'm leaning more towards like analytical, but like that emotional side, I think you can't avoid it as well.
And I think that's definitely what I've learned in this last phase is that like I was highly emotional as a teenager, and then I was towards mid to late 20s going into 30s, I was completely logic for the most part. But that is like feeling the responsibility of having a family and like in my teens, I can do whatever I want to because it's just me. And like I felt like I always would survive. You know, I always felt like I'll just get another job. I'll just get another car. I'll just like, you know, I was very flippant like that. But you get to your 20s and then you start building little stuff. I don't want to lose all of this. I don't want to rebuild all of this. But then you get to a point where you do feel like maybe you have made a wrong turn and have to reset or whatever. And it's like now having to balance like the emotion for me is normally what tells me that something's off.
Yeah.
Because I'm feeling something that's like, I'm not feeling that for no reason. Like, okay, now let me check it by the logic. So I've learned kind of use both of them and definitely to lean on my friends when I'm feeling overly emotional. Okay, am I being emotional? Is this making sense? So like kind of using the two to balance each other, kind of to be a weight and then make that decision at some point. And then for me, if I've made a clear-minded decision, I'm kind of okay with where it lands because I feel like
same. I've grown to that.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm good with as long as I put the thought into whatever the choice is. I'm good with the outcome.
Yeah,
and that I mean that came with some growth too, but
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I think that for me, that came with some hard failures.
Yeah,
you have a hard failure and you survive. And you're like, I failed pretty hard. That was bad, but still here. So it's like, and still have a chance of like to do sometimes to like fail so bad and then still have a chance at some level of success is like, okay, well, the failure doesn't like stop me from having the next success. And it's like really learning that in real time. You hear about all the time that you got to fail this many times. You only got to get it right once. But sometimes you feel like you fail so bad, like I ain't recovering from this. And then once you start to like see like a little bit of light, it's like, okay, well, if it didn't take me out, it didn't take me out. So I got a chance. So I think that allows me to kind of, again, let go of that super fear of failure because it's just a part of, it's unavoidable sometimes.
Some failures hurt more than others though, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. So, I think for me, the failures that hurt the most are the ones that are connected to more people.
Yeah. Okay.
The people that you did not, people that either did not wrong you or you did not intend to wrong or you didn't even know in the moment. Like you do something that you see like, wait, you see the effects of it and you like, oh, that's tough to hold on to.
That got deep, as it always does.
It's inevitable.
Yeah, for
always.
sure.
So let's end this, I guess, with this game, red light, green light. You know, so red light will be something that led you down the wrong way.
Okay.
And green light would be something that keeps you going the right way now.
Okay.
Let's go.
Well, red light for me was not having tough conversations, avoiding those because you want to try to keep the peace. But then just kind of understanding that you can't move forward if you're not addressing what's on your mind, because that builds that resentment over time. So that mindset of, by not having those conversations, I'm actually keeping things good or making things better. I had to kind of get rid of that mindset. So that was like my red light.
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
Do you have yours? I have my green, but not my red.
I have mine. It wasn't that deep though. Mine is when I can't sleep. Like, that's when I know I'm going the wrong way. Like, if I get to full blown insomnia, like, it don't matter. It don't matter if I'm taking sleep meds, whatever going on. Like, when I get to full blown insomnia, that means I'm at like complete, like, it's beyond red. It's red flashing. Like, it's the whole, like, okay, we gotta make a change at that point because I can't even sleep. And I mean, I actually appreciate that because that's how I know, like, okay, as much as I don't want to, whatever this change is, as much as I don't want to, I gotta change something because I gotta get to sleep.
Yeah, check engine lights on.
Yeah, for sure. It's all of, that's the whole dash. That's what, sometimes we used to, with the CDL trucks, you have like the check engine light come on and then it'll blink. And then there's a second light that comes on, and then there's a third light that says literally stop on it. It will literally stop the engine. It's telling you that the engine is about to completely lock. And I have ignored that once, and then I got stuck in Oklahoma. Almost was in Christmas for Oklahoma because it stopped. I didn't. I kept pushing, and then it quit.
Okay, glad you said that. So my red light would be if like I'm actively and feeling like I need to be isolated. I know we talked about having like our seasons of like we were all kind of doing our own thing, but it's still, we always had a group chat. We always have this, and then at the big events, and even not even just big events, we still find our little random times to carve out things. But and again, there's always that on purpose alone time too to kind of decompress from the week or anything like that. But it's like when I get to a place where like I just like don't want to be bothered with that, like kind of avoiding, like not even wanting to talk about it even, that's when I know like, okay, you need to go be around people even more. You need to talk about it with somebody, even if you're not ready to bring it to the whole group yet. Either talk to one person or talk to somebody else. Like I told you about that time where I had to like just tell not a stranger, but someone who's like a newer friend, because I didn't want to burden y'all with that. Like when I get to that point where I'm feeling like I have to peel back from the world a bit, that's when I know something's a little off of me, because that goes against me altogether. Like for the most part, I'd rather be around everybody as much as I can. So that for sure is a red light for me when I'm trying to isolate.
In retrospect, do you know what triggers that for you? Like, we don't have to say it on here, but
No,
have you recognized it?
I don't. So it's one of those things. I've gotten better with handling it. It's more so I can recognize it. It comes in different forms each time, and I've gotten better at like, okay, oh, there that is. I have my little things. Like I've told y'all about how I watched that one movie, Easy A. Right. I have my little things to kind of knock myself out of it in a way. And again, a lot of that just comes from the positives, the negative, like taking the good with the bad. Yeah. But it's tricky, but it's not. And again, maybe this is something I will explore in therapy one day. I'm sure, but I've gotten a whole lot better at recognizing it than I used to be. And then it's like, okay, let me do my things. Now, those things, they could probably be a little healthier. they could be.
I would say the funny one would be yellow light, because I think we all have yellow lights in our vices. Like we all use vices, and as long as we don't overuse them, it tends to kind of, it's not the most healthiest, but for a short amount of time, it does like kind of help you course. It's kind of like a pit stop. You're like, I can't stop here, but I just need a little break. Right. Like, I'm gonna get back in the game in a second. Like I just need a little breather.
I'll keep the engine running.
For sure,
that was good.
Yeah.
Green lights. Anybody else want to go first on this one?
So, well, my green light is, I mean, we've talked about all of us being the accountability and things like that, but you almost have to have someone who without like a horse in the race, if you will, willing to like nudge you. And I think kind of expanding my friend circle a bit and, you know, gaining some people who, again, we are who we are and we hold each other accountable. But it's like there are certain things you don't necessarily want to say at times and this and that. If you got to get someone who will just fully like sometimes I just need, I'll just like you say, you look at it, I'll be like, I'm just good. I'll camp out right here. You kind of need that person to kick you in the hole. So I think kind of having that, getting some different perspectives and things like that, that's definitely a positive thing in your adult life for sure.
Yeah. I think for me, there are, like, we talked about how we know the way that we think. So we know, like, kind of the way our thought processes are and, like, how we go about different things. But there are times where, like, I'm headed in the right direction and I'm not necessarily sure. Like, I made a change. I'm like, man, you just don't feel, you don't see no results yet. Yeah. But then there's some things that, like, they will be recurring, or like somebody, like a complete stranger, or somebody, like you said, that's like in not necessarily a close group, that will come and just like say something, you're like, oh, there's a little bit of confirmation. It's like that confirmation that you are headed in the right direction, because it's like, to have said, you usually say this all the time, you don't believe in coincidences. So somebody will say like the exact phrase and I've been using it, I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's from somewhere. I feel you, you know. And it's just like that little bit of encouragement, because after you make that turn, like, how do you know that you weren't going the right way and now you're going the wrong way? So it's always that little bit of doubt, even though I've thought about it, I've thought it out and whatever, and I feel good about it in moments, but there are that little bit of doubt, and it's nice to have a little bit of confirmation when you headed in a good direction.
Okay. I think for me, something that I've been more cognizant of and trying to be intentional with is just kind of checking my joy meter. Okay. You know, doing things that are going to bring me joy, whether that's something as simple as going out to eat by myself and like just kind of checking in on myself. And, you know, because I feel like a lot of times all of us were kind of pulled in a lot of different directions. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's just been our MO since we've been young. Like, that's what we grew up in, to the point where it feels normal. Yeah. But also, I remember Q, you had mentioned it before, like, man, just taking time for yourself, whether that is just to sit and scroll on IG or watch Easy A. Exactly. Or I know Q with your comedy specials. Like,
that's all. It was funny when you said, I was like, I was thinking, like, I watched the same. If I pop on one of them comedy specials, like, yeah, okay, it's a good time to like check in and see where I'm at, how I'm feeling. I used to also do, like you said, eating alone. I used to go to Shogun so much. The waitress still there, still knows me and knows my order. Cause I used to just go to the bar. I sat at the end of the bar. I would have the same thing every time. It's just about going in there, like you said, just sitting and like just being and not having to respond to anybody or listen to anybody or, interact with. I'm interacting with people who don't know me. So I'm just, pleasantries. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I found that, like with the joy meter, I found that, like when I'm out now, I'm purposely trying to have good interactions with people. And in doing that, I've had like some really, and people always do, they always speak to us like and just start sharing their life. Cause I always feel like that must mean I must be more welcoming than I try to be. But now that I'm being intentional, there's people of different race or of different like whatever, like they just, I've had some very like random but good interactions where it's just like, man, it's nice to put that energy out and then just get that energy back to return to you, like in a time where it's a lot of foolishness going on. Like to just be able to have some genuine interactions with people definitely makes me feel like, okay, you just can keep moving. Like you can have some hope that like this is gonna get sorted out at some point.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's what it is for me. Just kind of checking that and following it, letting it be a compass for me. For sure. Man, this was deep.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah,
that was a good one for sure.